G'day mates, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today's video is a super exciting one. You guys have been asking for this for a while now. I get to break down which pros made it to round 4 for FNCS and where they're dropping. You guys keep asking who's playing with who, Aussie, where they're dropping. And until today, I couldn't make a definitive list because it was too hard. Teams kept swapping. I didn't know who was going to stick together. I didn't know who was playing well. But now we have our first list of what looks like the top 33 teams in EU and NA East, or at least close to it. There's some really big teams that just fell short, that got really unlucky, and there's some other teams that popped off. I don't want to say out of nowhere, but man, Clix's new team was looking ridiculous. Tayson's team is still looking insanely dominant. Benji popped off. Mongraal just falling short. There's a lot to talk about, and I want to break down the maps as well. But before I get into that, I just want to really quickly take a chance to talk about what is happening with the superhero skins. I feel like there's just been not that much talk around this. So the superhero skins got vaulted from competitive as they were deemed to give an unfair advantage, which honestly, I still agree with. I've had a few people tag me and flame me on social media saying that I caused the superhero skin to get vaulted. I didn't. There was a lot of people complaining about this. If you weren't complaining about it, I don't really know what you want from me, especially for console gang. The full black superhero skin endgame on console was literally cheating. Like, it just is not fair. With shadows already on, not being able to see just dark skins naturally, having a completely pitch black skin crouching in the corner of a box on low ground was an absolute joke. It literally looks as bad as the rose skin on Warzone, but even more so than that, the all white superhero skin towards the end became way more popular. And when I'm saying it's broken and overpowered, all I have to do is tell you that the last tournament before they vaulted it, 70% of the lobby in tournaments was wearing the white superhero skin. I watched the game in replay modes. I went through all the teams and counted on stream just to make my point more clear. There was 20 of the 30 teams playing wearing white superhero skin. It was broken in the box when builds broke and they kind of had that light texture, especially metal. It was completely lost in the builds, super hard to shoot. But the point I'm trying to make is, why has there not been a refund? I never bought the superhero skin, so I'm not complaining or making a big deal about this on my part. I'm doing it for other people. A lot of you guys bought it because you wanted to use it in competitive. Like, that's the reason. So many players like myself just don't ever play pubs anymore. Maybe play a bit of creative, but you mostly play arena, scrims, and tournaments. And the skin is completely turned off in those game modes. I feel like that should warrant a refund, or at least using one of your refund tokens and then getting the refund token back. I feel like this should be a case where Epic gives a free refund. But nothing's really happened. We haven't heard anything. Epic hasn't said anything. They haven't said they're going to turn the skin back on in competitive. And now I open up my item shop and it's for sale again. Like, I feel like that's even worse. Not only has there not been any word about the superhero skin, Epic is now selling it again when it's not available in competitive, and that isn't made, in my opinion, very clear when buying the skin. I can't see anything that really says that you can't use it in competitive. I don't know if there is something that says that. So people could be buying it who never got a chance to use it last time, not realizing they can't use it. They go to load into an arena game and it doesn't work. Again, I'm really trying to like balance my criticism and positivity towards Epic at the moment. They're doing a lot of things really well right now, but I seriously think there needs to be some communication on what's going on with the superhero skin and potential refunds, because if I bought a cosmetic for a game and you told me I couldn't use it in half the game modes, I'd want a refund. That's not why I bought it in the first place. All right, let's move on to the news with FNCS. Who qualified for the first round 4 of the season and who didn't? I'm going to kick off with EU. And obviously the big name you're going to want to know about straight away was Mongraal. How is Mongraal doing at the moment? Unfortunately, Mongraal did fall short. The first time playing FNCS with Kiko and Slender, they came in 93rd, so a fair bit off the pace. But again, don't panic too hard. We had other phenomenal teams like Endelix, Snazy, and X-Sweezy in 109th who also struggled today. It was a tough day of games. A lot of really good teams. A few things could have gone wrong, and that was the difference to qualifying. You needed to have insanely solid games. And remember, before anyone starts freaking out, talking about teams splitting and all their anchors, they're not playing well and everyone freaks out. Remember, last season was won by Trulex's team. They didn't even make it to round 2 in week 1, unless I'm mistaken. And they definitely did not make round 4, and they went on to win the entire FNCS. So no need to panic just yet. I didn't get to watch their games because Mongraal unfortunately didn't stream it. I watched them a bit in replay modes. I couldn't see anything incredibly terribly wrong, just look like a rough day. I'm sure they've just got a few things they need to work on, and they should be solid. There's been no talk of splitting. There's been no drama. Looks like they just didn't have the day they wanted. We also had Seti, Kami, and Teak, probably one of the best performing teams at the moment other than Andelix's team, that didn't qualify. They came in 38th overall. Pretty unfortunate for them. We had Letshe's new team playing with Kylix and Swilliam. I haven't been talking too much about the two Asia players who switched to EU, Swilliam and Force, and I promise I will start to do that more. Super excited to see them popping off. They've both been doing big things, but unfortunately with Letshe on the team, Kylix and Swilliam just weren't able to bring it together. That is a team that I'm maybe a bit scared of because Letshe has been dropping and changing teams a lot at the moment, but maybe sticks with them, maybe can finally make it work. We've seen Letshe get progressively better every season as the season goes on once he gets a team, so I really hope that works well for them. We had Kezix, Forzia, and Nate, again, their first tournament without Tayson. Tayson's still doing phenomenally well, which I'll talk about in a second. They came in 50th. We had Pink, Nebs, and Stompy in 52nd. We had El Nuif, his first FNCS, now not playing with Marion, struggling a bit with Quinton and Cried. They came 64th. We had ADN, Matzo, and Amplify in 65th. We had Flick, Anas, and Thomas HD in 67th. Now, the reason why I didn't kind of include them in the first few teams that have been doing really well, they have been doing well in Cash Cups, but they've been really inconsistent. They've been inconsistent for a couple seasons now. I still think they could win the FNCS if they bring it together. They've shown what they can do when they're all playing well. They're all on top, but right now, they're very hit or miss in these tournaments, unfortunately. Now, before we look at where they dropped, let's talk about which teams did do well and take a look at the top of the leaderboard. So we had Vino, Tayson, and Rezone come in first on 160 points, 8 matches, 3 victory hours. This team right now is looking insane. Any kind of criticism towards Tayson for splitting with his old team has just been completely put to rest at this point. They are looking fantastic. We have Kinzel's team in second on 148. We managed to have Dids, I believe his team is on 141 in third. Floki's team looking so consistent right now in fourth on 139. Hi Chris, who again, I'm so excited to see this team now going into FNCS, doing fantastically, knowing they're not going to contest one of the other best teams with Hen's team in the finals. They've switched drops. I'm so excited to see what they can do. We have Podesai's team in there, Savid with his new team in 7th as well. Again, I'm not going to run the entire leaderboard. I'll pick out the ones that I know you're going to ask about. Wolfie's new team now up there as well with Marion and Milan coming in 13th on 126 points as well. Don't stress, I'll go down to the bottom before you guys freak out. We had Benji Fishy just get in there, 29th place with Joe and Shadow. They got 118 points. We also had Aqua's team just scraped through in the last few games. I think literally the last game it came down to a 13 elim win to secure the 28th place overall. We were talking a lot about Mongraal at the start of the season, but looks like Mitro is getting the final laugh. Mitro, CRR, and X8 get in there on 25th overall. And I know I didn't read them at the top of the leaderboard like I'm used to, but Henjanis and Chapix having a bad day for them because they've been so consistent, but still getting 22nd overall on 121 points. I got to throw in there, guys, when I don't include a team and I don't shout them out, I'm sorry. A lot of the time, it's just my own ignorance. I'm getting my knowledge up. I know I focus on a lot of the bigger names and the storylines. I'm sorry if I'm not following, you know, maybe the Swedish pros enough, especially a lot of the scene where they don't speak English predominantly on socials. It's really hard for me to follow and get the storylines. Just want to make sure with these kind of videos, it's always no disrespect if I don't read a team out. Now, let's look at the drop spot map because this one's spicy. We got already a lot of teams you're going to notice contesting. We have Benji Fishy, unfortunately, in a 3-way contest over one of the IO places. I don't know why this is triple contested. I think it's a decent fight in Cash Cups because it ends quickly. The problem is when you lose a teammate, there's no reboot van. So whether the loot in this area is fantastic, again, it could just be what they're posting on the map. Again, these maps are never 100% accurate. It could be the fact they just want to go the Kami split area. Kami Seti Teak did not qualify, so that whole area all the way next to Corny Complex down to Lazy Lake that can easily fit 2 teams, not really 3, is up for grabs. So they might not be dropping directly on top of each other. Unfortunately, you do have Marion, Milan, and Wolfies off to the edge who will be dropping on the center of the map, and I imagine trying to take that gas station potentially, so they're going to try and get in on some of the loot as well. We do have other big teams. We have Floki, Deceptos, and Clement going up against Splash's team at Misty Meadows. We have 2 teams contesting at Caddy Corners, which, again, Caddy Corners an interesting drop, but I think the spawn fight to watch out for, the one that I'm most excited for, is going to be Slurpy Swamps. We have Mitro, X8, and CRR going up against Kiriachi, Toos, and Stormy Right. So now, I mean, that's a tough fight. Kiriachi's team does not leave Slurpy Swamps. They are a phenomenal spawn fighting team, but exactly the same can be said about Mitro's team as well. So I have absolutely no idea who's going to be able to come out on top of that one. We do have a lot of big teams getting their own drops to themselves, which is going to be very scary for the leaderboard. We have Tayson, Vino, and Rezon. They are getting Believers Beach. Benji Fishy's team is not going there. Vidil, Noah, and Aqua will be going Boney Burbs. Again, I don't really like that as a drop, but it's an uncontested major POI. It gives enough loot. It should work rather than contesting. I just don't think it's one of the strongest POIs, but hey, if anyone can make it work, it'll be them. We have Hen, Chapix, and Janice, of course, at Craggy Cliffs. They have an Uncon, which is fantastic. Like I said, High Chris's team is no longer going Craggy Cliffs. They are now going Corny Complex, which unfortunately, they are going to be contested as well. We have a Steamy Stacks contest because we always have a Steamy Stacks contest, even when Mr. Savage's team isn't there because they're auto-qualified. We have Nikov's team going there, which is a major team that could do really, really well. I don't know too much about Force's team. We'll have to see how they perform as well. Other than that, a lot of it's pretty standard. We have Kinzel's team going Holy Hedges uncontested. That is a big sleeper pick to come out on top in the tournament. We have Rifler, Savin, and Astro, and they're going kind of the Hydro Dam Flush Factory split, which was really popular last season, but it was really good when you had the Lara Croft quest where you get a rift guaranteed at the island. They don't get that, but it's still a really strong drop nonetheless. And obviously there's other big drops on the map, but mostly those are the ones that I wanted to point out. Really surprised. Again, I'm gonna fully admit my ignorance. I don't know much about Ghosty, Diablo, and Bayon, but they do have Dirty Dogs completely uncon, which is surprising for me to see. Again, obviously I'm the one missing out here. The players clearly respecting how good they are, and maybe after tomorrow I'll pay more attention to them as a team. We have Danny's team getting uncontested retail as well, and of course Camp Cod, no one's going it. Storm Surge is way too hard this season. It just does not work. Going that far away will be an absolute nightmare for Storm Surge. There's literally next to no point dropping there. Same as EU, let's talk about the teams that just didn't qualify who aren't going to be on the drop spot map. Most notable and the one that everyone's talking about is Illest, Macwood, and Tragics coming in 87th. This is, of course, because Macwood left Clicks and Bucky, started playing with Illest and Tragics when Kriya went and played with Clicks and Bucky, who did insanely well. I'll talk about that in a second, but unfortunately, Macwood, Illest, and Tragics having their worst performance together so far. They kicked off really well, doing really well in Cash Cups, placed insanely highly in the rounds before this, but unfortunately, round 3, things came a little bit unstuck. No real reason as to why I couldn't see anything. I was actually talking to Macwood personally. He said he feels great about the team. Their vibes are really good and they feel good. So I don't think they're going to split up over this or anything. I just think, unfortunately, again, like I said with EU, just a rough day, didn't have the performance they wanted. And again, when you look at other teams like Stretch, Kanata, and Saf that came in 50th and just didn't qualify as well, I mean, the game quality is just that high at the moment. Same with EU. There's just so many big teams that aren't making it, not because they're playing insanely terribly. It's just hard to qualify. Stretch tweeted out, effed up first week, last time too, all good, all good. Don't really care about qualifying first week since no scrims anyway. Good luck to everyone in finals, which honestly is an outlook that a lot of teams have. Without anything better to do, with no scrims really going on right now, you might as well not qualify first week. That whole idea that if you get top 3, you automatically qualify for grands, then you don't get as much practice. So it looks like they're not too stressed, no complaints, no excuses. I like to see this from Stretch. Just, we didn't play well, we didn't qualify. We also had the OCE boys, Muzz, Looter, and Speedy get so close. They came in 44th, just missing out. We had Ronaldo's new team where, if you've been watching Zork and XMB with Ronaldo, you probably didn't think it was going to work that well. Game 1, they were just screaming, they were joking around, but they still somehow managed to play really well. Went off the pace a little bit and then really brought it back at the end. They came in 46th. So Zork, Ronaldo, and XMB might be a team that works. How? I don't know. Endgame is just complete chaos. I'll show you a clip. This is what this team sounds like when they play Endgame.
To get the mat to go, you have to get the mat to go.
Follow me!
Don't replace, just come. Spray out, spray. In!
200! Come, follow!
Honors! In my box! Oh!
Come on!
100! Dead! No! I have it down.
Run behind me! No, I'm dead! Whether they qualified or not, it was so much fun to watch. Genuinely, it was good to see Ron enjoying competitive, having a laugh, and still doing really well. I mean, like I said, 46, that still puts them ahead of Stretch, Kanata, Saf, Illismac with Tragics, like a lot of really good teams. So they made it work. I hope they play again next week because it was a lot of fun to watch. We had the absolute heartbreaking Colazo, Trashy, and Lazar come in 34th, one place short of qualifying. I felt so bad for them, but Colazo made a really nice tweet talking about how they're going to do better. Same as Stretch, right? No excuses. We didn't play well. We're improving. We're going to do better next time. Again, I love to see that from Colazo. Very normal, mature attitude from Colazo. Also, notably, the other two teams, 35th and 36th, just missing out. Felix, Sparebow, and Post have been doing really well, started to make a big name for themselves last season. And Oliver OG, Asian Jeff, and Elige. Now, I mentioned them because it's a team that I didn't think would do that well, having watched Oliver OG and Asian Jeff play together. It's chaos. Jeff just goes super crazy sus, like I'm sure you guys are used to hearing. But when they compete, they focus up and they play really well. I would be surprised not to see them make round 4 next week. I think they're a good team. Let's take a look at the top of the leaderboard, and a team you probably weren't expecting to see up there. P-God, Peterbot, and TK, two of the ex-console guys teaming up with P-God to get 191 points, 8 matches played, 2 victory royales, close to 30 points on top of second. Just insane performance from them. We had Spike, Death, and Leo, a team that I really did not expect to see in second place, but super excited to see them up there. 167 points, 8 matches, 4 victory royales. I very, very clearly have to start paying more attention to this team. That was a strong performance. We had Mikey, Zunis, and AV, like just a crowd favorite team of mine, a team that I didn't know how to think about this one. 2 controller players and then mouse and keyboard, usually really rough for Surge, but they pulled it together, and I love the vibes of this team. It's so much fun to watch them. Creo, Bucky, and Clicks in 4th place, 158 points, ridiculous performance from them. They played so insanely well. They had one game, well, they had a few really good games, but a 14 elim 10th, 14 elim 10th to kick things off. That is a very high amount of elims to still not even get in the top 10. 14 elims 4th, like they can drop frags. They were looking really consistent, really good. We had Quan, Nico, and Paper in 5th. We had Kaz, Aspect, and Hufishy. Again, I'm not going to run the entire leaderboard. Sorry, Twanty's team. I'm going to skip a couple here as well, but we had some big performances. Jamper, Threats, and Rise on 127. One of the favorites I've got picked to win FNCS, looking really insane at this point. Nut, Eomzo, and Chucky just still proving that they are not just a Cash Cup team. They're not just a W key team. If they can have a solid performance tomorrow in round 4, I would have to call them out as potentially one of the teams to win FNCS. And I know that's early, but they are looking so good, or at least one of the dark horses that more people need to start paying attention to. We had Mega, Rokane, and Dubs back up there. Niddle, Casca smacked in the mix. Deeds and Ages, Skittles, not their strongest performance, 21st, but they still made it through. We had Okus, Blake, and Scope. Scope looking like he finally found that team he'd been looking for. Bizzle, Eclipse, and Coop again in 25th place. Now, I'm going to change it. I don't want to coin this team as the reject team or the misfits because I honestly feel like that doesn't do them justice. I talked about it on stream today. This is going to be the underappreciated team. 3 phenomenal players who've achieved ridiculous things in their career, but no one gave them a chance. In 25th, they're doing it yet again. We have Notch, Booger, and Avery just sliding in there as well. Slacks, Jack, and Acorn, the FNCS winners. Narwhal, Divine, and Zlem. I'll give Narwhal a shout out. That's for you, bro. Doing really well there as well. And just getting in the top there, Jays, Knifer, and Donnie. So NAE is looking pretty stacked. Again, I pretty much would recognize every single team in that top 33. I know a bit more about some than others, but so far, this games tomorrow are going to look really good. Looking at the NAE's drop spot map, this one's a little bit different. This one, it looks different at EU. There's a lot more teams going some of the major drops. You have Mikey, Zuni's, AV getting triple conned at Believers Beach by 2 teams that I don't know as much about, so not as high profile names, but at that point, triple conned, it's not really gonna matter. Watching Osp, NPen, and Polarized go up against Mega Dubs at Rokane at Boney Burbs is gonna be one that I'm definitely watching tomorrow for the viewing party. Aspect, Kaz, and Hufishy getting uncon Pleasant. Creo, Bucky, and Clicks getting uncon Steamy. That is going to be very big for them, especially with 2 teams. DGen's team going up against Kippert's team at Corny Complex. That could be an easy Storm Surge route for them because uncon Steamy's great, but the Surge can be really tough. They are 3 mouse and keyboard players, which makes Surge a little bit easier long range. They also have 2 teams contesting it dirty, so Trap and Builds, they could rotate that way if they get a far zone. D-Roller and Voiles also going head-to-head in the Kami split area, but Oka's Blake and Scope getting a solid drop in the middle of the map, going for that big wide split that has surprisingly a lot of loot now with the henchman chest. It is a very good drop that I expected them to find. That is a drop that not a lot of people know just how strong it is yet. Bizzle, Coop, and Eclipse getting that center map area that Bizzle loves for Storm Surge, setting up on all those mountains, getting really good angles. Eomzo, Nut, and Chucky getting unconned lazy is looking really, really good for them coming into tomorrow. Cascanil and Smacked at retail as always since the dawn of time. Jack Slacks, Acorn at Slurpee, same thing. Jamper Threats and Rise at Holy Hedges, no one wants to go up against them there. P-God, Peterbot, and TK over at Craggy Cliffs. That's an interesting one. Obviously, Macwood's team didn't qualify, so the other major team going there isn't there, which is going to be huge for them. Noshbooger and Avery getting that orchard kind of IO house area. It doesn't look like a lot of loot, but it really, really is. Paper's team going up against Danny's team at Stealthy Stronghold, and one that I'm surprised to see, Crib Cold and Elite, who I've been doing really, really well, going up against Leo's team at, I don't know why they're going Coral Castle. Double conning Coral Castle. Don't get it, but hey, maybe they know something I don't know. We have Crumble, Nexy, and Larson going up against Tabs G, Teo, and Pledge at Weeping. Weeping has just been so heavily contested this season in NA for some reason. I really don't know why. Narwhal's team going up against Adams at Misty Meadows. I forgot a few in there, but overall, NA's drop spot map looking, I don't know. There's some areas that I feel like are really overcon, but there's a few teams right now. There's at least 6 or 7 teams that have insanely good tier 1 POIs to themselves, and those are going to be the teams I'm expecting to run away with it tomorrow. Remember, guys, I'm watching all of these games live on my Twitch channel at twitch.tv/Aussie Antics. I'm doing viewing parties, I'm doing replay mode streams, getting all the action. It's been so much fun. The love has been insane on my Twitch, so thank you for already checked me out. If you haven't, I would really appreciate it. But that's going to do it for today's video. So please, if you liked today's video, chuck a like on it. Let me know in the comment section down below your thoughts on anything I talked about. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. It would mean the world to me. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.